is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some Resident Evil 1 Remake, the original remake. And today I'm going to be following up something I posted in one of my posts where I was talking about the possibility of if they did remake Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil 1, what I would like for them to do. And the thing here is that I'll admit 0 and 1 are not very high on my remake list. Just to follow up what I've said in earlier videos, Code Veronica is the one I want to make. But if they did ever do 0 or 1, regardless, this is how I think they should do it. And I want to piggyback off a comment I read from someone. I don't know where the comment is or who said it, so whoever you are, thank you very much, because you got me thinking about what they should do. And in my honest opinion, I feel like they should combine 0 and 1 together into one game. Now, that does not mean that I feel like, I'm not saying shorten both games so they satisfy the length of one. That's not what I'm saying. You know, have two games put into one, so it's as long as both games, and probably even longer for the ideas I'm going to come up with you soon. But the reason why is, very obvious, is that, with 0 and 1, they're both so tied in together. But also, I feel like it hasn't a chance to really showcase a lot of things that we never saw in 0 and 1. And I think a lot of fans, not just new fans, but OG fans would like to see a lot. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into this. What I would do is you remember in Resident Evil 6 where they had the prologue, and it kind of wasn't a prologue, it was just a moment in the game when Leon's campaign, but basically I would have something similar to that where you start a prologue, and the prologue starts before the events of 0 and 1, like a few days, a week, or whatever, and it's in the STARS office in the RPD, and you get to see all the STARS members. Not just the ones we know that survived, but the ones we don't know, the ones that did die, that we don't see too often. Like you see, Richard, Enrico, Kenneth, Forrest, etc. And I like to have a moment. You know the movie Aliens, the sequel to Alien, one of the all-time great movies ever. We get to see the commandos, the whole Marines, and we get to learn about each of their backstories and what they're here for and why their specialities, what they're good at, and then their personalities. I really would like a scene like that with the STARS members, and you get to learn why they were recruited, why they're here, how they act, just so when we eventually see their obviously downfall when they do die, it hits so much harder, because seeing how they did a lot of things in Resident 4 Remake in terms of development of a lot of characters, I feel like they can really do that and just show off these STARS members. I don't think a lot of people really know a lot of the STARS members, underneath the people that survive, other than they're you find their dead corpse or the few moments they are alive. And also, I'll piggyback another thing they did in Resident Evil 7, which I think was cool. You know how in Resident Evil 1 where you pick up Kenneth's little tape and you could watch his last minutes before he's died? You know in Resident Evil 7 how you had those VHS tapes where you would find playback and you would relive moments either from someone's last moments or a moment they were in time? I feel like when in the mansion or the train, wherever you find the members of the deceased STARS members, you pick up something like that, and wherever you can play it at in the game, you can play their last moments, have their unique loadouts, whatever weapons they have on them, and you can relive their last moments and see when Forrest died on the balcony by crows or something, or when poor Kenneth got murked in the very early stages and stuff like that. But my point is that it would add so much to the game. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this and how I would do the playing of the game, because you might be thinking, well, how do you start this? Do you start with 0 first or 1? Well, it's not going to work that way. Here's how it goes. When you play the game, you could pick 3 campaigns to start out. You can have Jill, Chris, and Rebecca. So if you pick Jill or Chris first, as your first playthrough or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter when you pick them, they start a little bit differently. It's not like they, when you play Resident 1, you see the people in the forest, they drop down, the chopper goes away, and then they run to the mansion. I feel like, the sequence is, you're on the chopper, and it's in real time, and you land in the forest, and you may see some things, and you do, some investigation mode in the forest, until eventually, the Cerberuses attack, and you see how, depending on who you pick, Jill or Chris, you see how they get separated, and just have that extra content there, as well as add some more stuff within the game to make it longer, because you're going to see why in a minute. But if you pick someone like Rebecca, you have, her mission when she was with her team, and obviously her whole story doesn't end with Resident Evil 0 because she gets to 1, have her campaign be 0 and 1 combined, so obviously it's going to be a little bit longer, so that would have to make Jill and Chris's campaigns longer, and I think you can add a lot more stuff to it. I mean, look what they did with, Lisa Trevor edition to the remake, the original one. But the cool part is that if you beat Jill or Chris or Rebecca's campaign, you unlock other campaigns. So if you beat Jill, the one she was closely affiliated with was Barry, you unlock Barry's campaign, and you get to see, events like, what led him to having Wesker take advantage of him and how he acts when we don't see him off screen and stuff. And obviously when you play multiple campaigns, you see how like things lead up to other things, how they met each other and swap back and forth. With Chris's campaign, if you beat his, you unlock Wesker, and you can see Wesker in his early stages, how he prepared this stuff, and give some backstory on him, which will be good for a lot of new fans who don't know Wesker very well. You see his events that led from Zero when he's with Birkin, as well as how he manipulates the events of 1, as well as how he gets out alive, which would be cool. And then if you beat Rebecca's campaign, you unlock Billy, so you can see what led to his early days, when he's arrested, as well as the events with him in the jungle. And then maybe you get to see something extra to see when he leaves Rebecca at the end of Zero, what happened, what's the aftermath, which would be really cool because people have always speculated that. But the point is, with all these campaigns and how they all intertwine and connect with each other, I just feel like this would really add a lot more value. It would give the full story of 0 and 1 and combine them together, add a lot of things. You get more campaigns. Obviously, you can have your extras like you had in the remake and stuff like that. But I just feel like the big picture here is you get a full sense of like both the units of stars and how they go into this mission, kind of maybe all gung-ho, like this is another day in the office, and then to see the absolute just terror and just how they all one by one get just eviscerated, but just give that extra story between them, because as I said, I've seen what they did with, obviously the latest one, Resident Evil 4 Remake, gives me hope that they could do that, and it'd just be cool to see that, because as I said, stars is a very important unit, not just the people that survive, but the people who perished, and I feel like you can really get a lot of backstory with that. I mean, you could add a lot of more advancements and stuff. Maybe, I know most people are probably going to prefer the over-the-shoulder with these games, not the original way, which, I don't really mind too much either way. I don't mind. But just from seeing these extra developmental moments with these characters, and obviously seeing your famous characters and having extra ways to play, I just feel like this will really add a lot more value. And I feel like even people who aren't looking forward to this, if they did it that way, even they would have to admit, damn, I'd have to play this just to see all that stuff, because as I said, we never got that stuff in the original one. But I think that's where we come from with a remake. When you want to remake something, you want to respect what the original did, but you also want to add some things to it, add some value to it, and I just feel like that would just be a lot of value, and a lot of people, fans of Resident Evil, would really like that. But that is going to be my opinion. I know a lot of people, based on my poll, weren't really into 0, especially 0, maybe a little bit of 1, maybe. I think 1 more just because of, just having that backstory with Wesker, and going back to the mansion. Let's be honest, the mansion is obviously probably the most iconic place in Resident Evil, but let me know what you guys think. If we were to remake Resident Evil 0 and 1 together like that, and they did the ideas that I just suggested, would you be more interested in that, or would you still be like, I got the old ones, I always go back and play it, I'm not really caring to that, because I know a lot of people want to get into Code Veronica, and I can't blame them for that. Obviously that's the one I would want, but if they did 0 and 1 like that, I'd definitely be a lot more interested in it. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.